3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live. Jamie, could you pull that up for me? This is the Joe Rogan, the Pig Trail Network experience. What's up, Mr. Black? How you doing? Mr. Black Bear, bullets before breakfast. What's going on, guys? I know I didn't post on social media that I was going live. How dare you, sir? That's my bad. I have to knock this thing out quick. I am responsible for dinner, and I need to get it done quick. Arkansas is trash. Well, we'll get there in a minute. We'll let the room fill up. I like that name. Bullets before breakfast. It's okay. The defense looked good until second string. 20-13. Yeah, I know. That was a tough one to swallow. So, like usual, we'll wait 2-3 minutes, whatever. You guys can talk it up, and I'll try to read some of your comments as we wait to fill the room up. Chief Keen on the Dream. We on the come up. Let us develop this talent. It's there. Like the video, Greg. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. Blood Diamond, how you doing? Mr. Is it Marquise Visuals? What do you think about the D-line? We'll get there. Or the O-line. You said the O-line. Okay, we'll get there. Hang on. Pump the brakes. Give it just a little bit. Give it just a bit before so we get some people in here. Normally the comments take a minute. You guys are active. So my goal is every week to have a show on Monday. To have a live show here on Monday. Throughout the rest of the football season, then we'll try to judge things through the basketball season. But, it's going to be trial and error, that sort of thing. Remember to like, comment, share the content, guys. Do me a favor. Share this on social media if you would be so kind. I'd really appreciate it. So, we just passed a couple minutes. So we'll just wait just a second. You guys fill up quick. I normally, if you guys follow the video for long or the channel, you know that I usually don't post videos till like 3:00, just because I like to have content ready for you when you get off work. You're driving home or whatever. You're at home and you're tired of watching whatever it is your wife is working or watching. Sorry, I'm tired. And so you want something to watch for yourself, right? So I like to have that content ready for you guys to rock and roll at 3:00. If I do these live shows, I may just do them later on Mondays, like after 5 or something. We'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear. Wow. Got a lot of comments here. Again, thank you guys so much. I know this is, again, you never know when these live things are going to pop up when the PTN goes live. So I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Let me get caught up on what you guys are saying, and then we'll start, we'll knock out the Portland State game, and then we'll get a recruiting update too. Okay, let me scroll up here. Mr. Black Bear's going off, man. He's not real happy. He says embarrassing. So, Blood Diamond, how big of a progression do you think we make from week 1 to week 2? So, if you follow even in the Chad Morris era to the Brett Bielema era to the Bobby Petrino era in college football in general, normally what you see is a pretty big jump from week 1 to week 2, but the same could also be said for Ole Miss. And I think that's some of the concern that, people have mentioned here locally on the radio and on social media, talking about, well, what about Ole Miss? It's not like they did play a good program. Memphis is respectable, but they didn't want to show their hand because Ole Miss wants to make a mark in conference play. So maybe they didn't show everything, and maybe they held back. I don't think that's the case because Memphis is not an FCS school like Portland State. I don't know what's going on at Ole Miss. Holy cow. I really thought offensively. I thought that. What a game. Did any of you guys catch that Memphis-Ole Miss game? What a bizarre – it was like a high-scoring baseball game, 15 to 10, right? What if that was like 15 to 12, or something like that? Some crazy nonsense. But if you'd have told me beforehand, yeah, Ole Miss loses to Memphis, I wouldn't have been shocked. What would have been more surprising was the score, the low score. Not only was it an odd score, but it was a low-scoring game too. That was so bizarre. That was so strange. I would have said, oh, yeah, I don't know, Memphis 49 to 40 or 42 to or 55 to maybe like what I picked for the Portland State Arkansas game, 55-17, something like that, because Ole Miss hasn't really had a great defense, and offensively they've been pretty good for the most part. But I was a little surprised at how low scoring that game was. Why weren't we pushing downfield? I'll start off with that one really quick. I'm going to try and knock these out fast. I think a lot of that has to do with Ben Hicks and his style of play. He's a very safe quarterback. Ben Hicks is a very safe, conservative quarterback. Don't ask me how he turned the ball over so much at SMU with how conservative he is. But if you go back and watch enough film on him, he'll chuck the ball deep when he's got Cortland Sutton as a wideout. That's the other part of it too. These young receivers, there were, according to Pro Football Focus, 6 drops. I think they did try. I think there were a couple of plays where they really wanted to push the ball downfield a little bit, but the timing wasn't there. And it goes back to being in sync and everything. So Morris could go back to SMU. Oh, man. Gus will be available next year? ? Well, this year is going to be an interesting one. This game, I'm telling you guys, Ole Miss, Arkansas, this is it. For both programs, mostly I'm going to say for Chad Morris. I think Ole Miss has accepted that their guy's an in-between guy. I think for the most part, fans, and the powers that be at the U of A feel like Chad Morris has got to be the guy, right? So then again, Hunter Yurachek didn't hire Chad Morris, so who knows what they're thinking. But this has got to be the game. That was a good one. My God, I hope we can beat Ole Miss, says Fishman. Fish, how you doing, man? Hicks is scared. Starkle. So Starkle, and I think we talked about that here last time, actually, when we were live. Starkle's a gunslinger. Yeah, he threw a pick in that game, but I think he finished, 4 or 5? He can be accurate when he wants to be. He can, when he gets flushed out, he can, out of the pocket, he can do some damage a little bit. Not like he's a true dual threat quarterback, but he's capable. But he's a gunslinger. That's what he does. He either turns the ball over or he has a big play downfield. And that's what I think we talked about again last time when we were live. Hicks is scared. Hicks is scared. Starkle does, but he doesn't need read well. West says, love the videos. Thank you so much down in the Panhandle. Thank you. Fishman, give him a chance, Greg. Castle Lord, hope you had a great weekend. Thank you, Castle Lord. I hope you did too. There was football this weekend. Fantastic weekend when you have football. But hope you had a good weekend as well. Austin Crawford says, hey, the only team that might be as bad as we are is Ole Miss. That is completely true. Love your podcast, brother. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to tune into the Hog Talk podcast. Myself, Jacob Scott Davis. We brought on a producer a little while back who goes by Peck. Really good guy. We're actually going to have a live show down in Ozark September. Crap, I don't have that in front of me. I think September 13th. We'll be down in Ozark. So if you're not caught up on that, you can follow us on the Facebook page, Hog Talk, the Hog Talk, or Arkansas Hog Talk. I think is what it is on Facebook. And then we're also on Twitter, at the Hog Talk podcast. I think is what it is. It's not hard to just type HAWG and we usually pop up. The Land Shark Bear Ole Miss Rebels, says Grant. Geez, decided on a mascot. Beat Ole Miss. Let's try and go through here really quick. Too busy watching North versus South Carolina. What's good? Katizi, what's up, man? Hope all's well. Austin Crawford, I saw Hicks repeatedly throw behind guys on crossing routes. Yeah, didn't he, though? And, I don't put all the blame on Hicks, but my God, again, Pro Football Focus had 6 drops. 6 drops is what they tallied up. That's a lot, and half of them were by the tight ends. I think every tight end that was targeted, including Chase Harrell and Grayson Gunther, all of them had drops. We didn't see Hudson Henry either. By the way, I'm pretty positive he's going to get redshirted. I'm not completely shocked by that because if you guys remember, Rivals dropped him after watching him play. And I'm not knocking Hudson Henry. I think Hudson Henry is going to be good. But Rivals, someone had actually gone down to watch Hudson play. That within 48 hours, they dropped him like 10 spots. Go back and look at his rank. I think it dropped him down 10 spots after watching. That was crazy. Hey, Woo Pig from Virginia Beach. What's going on? Ronnie Wisner. Hope all is well over in that part of the country. The toilet bowl, says Mr. Black. Chad needs 4 years to fix. So, okay, let's start. Let's just start off with topic number 1. What the hell happened against Portland State? As you guys know, not going to deny it. Yeah, I picked 6-6. Look, last year, I also picked Arkansas. I think 7-5, 6-6. I think a lot of people did. I know there's going to be people in the chat like, "Oh no, I knew this was going to happen." Okay, congrats. But in reality, when you combine the fact that you felt like they had an upgrade at quarterback position, remember that's what this staff had said to us repeatedly. There was a certain pep in their step, if you will, with the media. The media was talking about what little they got to see. They felt like this team was better. Based on everything that I saw, what I read, and everything that you guys had exposure to, I felt like, you know what? I think year 2 is going to be a pretty big jump. Historically, Arkansas from year 1 to year 2 with a new coach, they do better. If you look at Brett Bielema and Bobby Petrino, I know different scenarios, different coaches. It's real easy to beat up the Hogs right now. It really is. They're an easy target. I'm going to stand by my 6-6 record for now because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they really went base and they just, I don't know. They were just lost. Deer in headlights, pile of rust, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to stick with that record. Obviously, after the Ole Miss game, things could change. Now, obviously, one of two things happen. Either they lose or they win against Ole Miss. But I think one of two things happen. Either Arkansas gets beat pretty bad against Ole Miss, or Arkansas finds a way to get a W on the win. And I think, and here's another reason why I'm sticking with the 6-6. Number one, did you watch the opponents that Arkansas has on their schedule play? Did any of them blow you away? Mississippi State, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Mizzou. Although I gotta admit, I may be wrong on the Kelly Bryant stuff. Nobody was outstanding week 1. Yeah, Arkansas played an FCS opponent. I get it. They didn't look great. Go back to the Petrino era. There were some games there where they should have lost. Even year 2, there were some games that were very questionable against lesser opponents. I am still concerned. And like I said on a previous, either on the podcast or on another video, that if this game was close at the end, remember what I said, there might be some cause for concern. And I think there is concern. Ole Miss, this is why it's so telling. After Ole Miss, I think obviously we're all going to be able to go, okay, nope, it's over. Or, hey, maybe they're okay. Maybe it's not as bad as we thought. I do take them at face value with everything they say. I also take a lot of what they say with a grain of salt. Chad Morris is like, he can be blunt and really honest with you, and very combative with the media, by the way. Very combative. What was that? I'm not going to apologize for a win? What the hell was that? What? You're not going. No one's telling you to apologize for a win. We're asking you why were you so basic against an FCS program? Why were you so vanilla? Why did this team look unprepared? Why at the end of the first half did you have such dramatic poor game management? Why was there a confusion on the sidelines? I don't know if you guys see the video, but Chad Morris is saying to spike the ball towards the end of the half, and the rest of his staff is doing they were doing some dance on the sidelines. So there was obviously communication error. Why were you so unprepared against an FCS opponent? So yeah, that's why I still think they go 6-6. Right now, again, Ole Miss is going to be it for me. And obviously week to week it could change. I mean, who knows what happens? This team, it's just bizarre. We've had 13 games under Chad Morris, and there's not been a game yet where I felt overly confident going into the next game. And I know everyone's going to say pump the brakes. It's only year 2. It's going to take, someone said in the comments, it's going to take 4 years. It depends on your definition of improvement, right? Like if by year 4, you're beating an FCS school by if we see what we saw against Portland State, he won't be around for year 5. Assuming that's what happened on the field, and we take Chad Morris at face value. He won't be around for year 5 if this stuff happens. And if we still don't have this confidence going into the next week that they should look, even under Brett Bielema, Bobby Petrino in his early years, I think we could all agree, based on what we saw with Ole Miss and how they handled Memphis, you'd feel pretty confident walking into Oxford. I don't. My prediction right now, I have no idea. Again, I'm still puzzled at how they held Memphis to such a low-scoring game. Memphis was a high-scoring offense a year ago. I don't know what's going on. That was so bizarre. I want to go back and try and catch some more highlights of that game. So I'm sticking with my 6-6 for now. It's not a popular opinion. I get it. I just, based on their schedule, nobody was super impressive outside of the typical, A&M's going to be good, LSU's going to be good, Bama's going to be good, right? Auburn's going to be good. Those are all predictions that I said, and I think a lot of you agree with. You're going to lose. You don't have a shot against those teams. But Kentucky, Mississippi State, Mizzou, Ole Miss, those teams look beatable. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's okay. Worse things have happened in the world than me being wrong on a prediction. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But going back to the Portland State game, there were a lot of issues there defensively. I'm gonna read your comments in just a second. Don't bug out. I know you guys get offended when I don't read your comments. I'm gonna go back. Give me just a second, and I'll read your comments again. I want to try to keep this under. I don't know. I'm not even gonna give it time, but I'm gonna say I want to keep it under 30 or 40 minutes, but we'll see. Going back to the defense, I was impressed. Dorian Gerald out for the year. I'm telling you guys, that's a loss. That's a huge loss. You're going to have to move some guys around up front a little bit. Luckily, they have the depth, right? You have guys like Montiel Soli, who stood out, Colin Clay, who's going to get an opportunity. You've got some experience. Luckily, they're too deep with seniors and juniors across the defensive line. I think they're in good shape up front. I was impressed with what I saw. I will say the offsides penalties in what was that? Was that a fourth quarter drive when the other quarterback went out? And I think this was the new quarterback, the backup quarterback, or whatever it was, the alternative quarterback. When he came in, it was his second series, I think, or maybe it was his first. But his snap count must have just been ridiculous. I don't know what was going on there. There were like 3 or 4 straight offsides penalties on Arkansas. Got to get that straightened out because I guarantee you that was planned. They wanted to, Arkansas, when you blitz heavy, you can either drop, screens and draws, and then you can make things happen pre-snap, like mixing up your snap count and going to a silent snap and all that different stuff. There's a lot of different things you can do, and I think that's exactly what happened. Arkansas needs to be prepared for that. The fact that they weren't on that drive has me a little bit concerned. That touchdown to the tight end there was incredible. That should have been picked. The timing on that was, had that quarterback been off by a millisecond, that would have been batted down or picked off. That was an impressive play by them. Shouldn't have happened. And that drive wouldn't have happened had they not had those multiple offsides penalties. Other than that, the defense was great. I thought special teams overall was pretty good. Offense just looked, as usual, unprepared, discombobulated, out of sync. Even if that was basic offense, if that was your base offense, like Chad Moore said, you still struggled to move the ball with your base offense against an FCS program. There's cause for concern. After Ole Miss, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to read your comments now. I know I'm a little bit behind. John Daly, offensive coordinator, 2020, says Austin Crawford. Well, I'm sure he'd be in favor of taking a bit of a pay cut from what he does and getting the opportunity to just sit upstairs and drink beers and call plays. I wonder if he plays Madden. Everyone who plays Madden is an expert at calling offense. Let's see. Woo Pig from Las Vegas. I've been there. I love it. I want to go back. Alex Spur, maybe Jeremy Pruitt will be available after we fire Morris. I'm telling you guys, the rest of the SEC was not good. The East is in trouble. Florida, going back to their game against Miami, I don't know if that was just a combination of those two teams being bad. Their quarterback that everyone's been hyping up all offseason, Franks, you kidding me? Get out of here with that. Florida now Miami should be good on defense. They've got talent on the defensive side of the ball. Chiefkin says, agree. Remember to be specific too, because I'm catching up and I'm having to go back and read your comments. If you can be specific about what you're talking about, agree. He's got to have at least 3. I'm assuming you're talking about Chad Morris, 3 years. I'm not sure. We need to see these receivers, sophomores and juniors with KJ as quarterback. Somebody at quarterback. By the way, did you guys see Chandler Morris, what he did? Had like by himself, what was it? Something like 500 yards of offense. Remember the division of football he plays in the state of Texas. I'm not saying he's going to come in and start, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does when he comes in next year. And let's just hope to God KJ is patient. Full mullet. I don't know what that's. NFL football Thursday. Go Pack. I'm a Rams fan, but I'm going to my big call here. I think the Rams missed the playoffs. I know, it's crazy. They lost the Super Bowl game in an ugly performance. Jonty, I don't know what you said, but your message got retracted, sir. I'm sorry. Beautiful day in Springdale, Arkansas. Hey, it's where I'm at, Springdale. Go Purple Dogs, though. I'm a Fayetteville Bulldog. 4-5 beats Hicks under 50% completion rate. He forced the pick. He didn't know. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Get off the ledge, guys. It'll be okay. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think people had a bit of loss. Yeah, I could definitely condone panicking. The fact that they barely won. Look, there was no point in that game where I thought Arkansas was going to lose either. That's a little bit comforting. I never felt like they were going to lose that ball game. Looking ahead to Ole Miss, Hogs better beat them baby Sharks. Yeah, so a lot riding on that game. There's no doubt about that. So much is riding on that Ole Miss game for Chad Morris. You could argue potentially it's his biggest game because of the situation that you're in, because of what happened last year and the fact that the fan base isn't real pleased overall with what happened against Portland State. Now you got an Ole Miss team, even though they're on the road, they appear vulnerable, right? So you expect, or Hog fans are expecting a good game and a win. I mean, let's be real. A lot of you in chat, I'm sure, and a lot of you who are going back and watching this, not live, but you're going back and watching the video, I'm sure you're on the same seat. You're not going to be happy or satisfied with an L against a bad Ole Miss team. They're not good. They're not good. Their offense, holy cow. LSU and Bama only ones to play well. A&M still going to be good. If Hogs lose to Ole Miss, I might get on the ledge with y'all, says Fishman. I shouldn't have said I'm not going to apologize for a win when nobody was asking for one. Yeah, I agree with that. That was ignorant to start off saying that. I agree, Dylan. Absolutely. I don't know about ignorant, but I don't know why he did that. Ruskin and Zach said this earlier, and I was on my way. I picked up my daughter from after school care, and Ruskin had said that Chad Morris is starting more fires than he's putting out. And he has a great point. After he explained himself a little bit, and he talks about the quarterback situation that we had last year where he never announced a starter until, the last week. And then he went with a guy and pulled him and put in Ty Story, who also struggled. This year, you've got the same thing where it's, who is your guy? I mean, Starkel, despite that one pick, I have to admit, I felt like he was able to move the offense a little bit better. Hicks, he never gelled. And so you have this situation where a lot of people feel like, what if Hicks is your guy who was here during the spring, who's here during the summer, who's familiar with the team, why not announce him as the starter of week 1 of fall camp? Why did you let the Starkel stuff linger on for so long, right? So that's what Ruskin was talking about he's starting more fires than he's putting out. And then he's hostile with the media. I shouldn't say hostile. That's not the right. Super defensive and maybe even a bit awkward with the media when it comes to dealing with things like injuries, when it comes to naming the quarterback, when it comes to the whole not apologizing for winning. Like, I don't know. That's again, that goes back to what is going on here. What's going on upstairs with Chad Morris and what's going on with the staff? Is there something more that we don't know about? Like, he's coming off a little, I don't know. Dylan says 6-6. I think so too. I believe the change up. I believe he changed up the scheme at the last minute. Start Starkel. So we know that they're going to start Hicks. This was from Chad Morris himself. They are going to start Hicks again. I don't know why. I have no idea why. We all know Starkel's the better talent. Hicks knows the offense. He can be a coach on the field, but why not have him be the coach on the sidelines? Why not? And someone's going to say, well, but maybe Hicks doesn't want that. Okay, bye. Bye, Felicia. Like, see ya. If you don't want to be a hog, that's something you guys tell me all the time. If you don't want to be a hog, then get out. Okay. I think the same rules should apply here. I think Starkel's the better quarterback. I think eventually he's going to play. And I think even now someone's got to fact check me on this. I hope you guys do. I'm almost positive that Chad Morris had said Starkel will play some this weekend. If that's true, why even say that? Who's your guy? If he said that. And I'm even going back to before this game. Why would you even want to rotate with that close of a game? When the game is still close, why are you rotating? Who's your guy? What are you doing? I know. I'm waiting for the Chad Morris knows more about his team than you do, Ty. And I agree with that. But how testy he is with the media It's kind of like he's starting again, it goes back to starting his own fires. Like, what are you doing? Are they conservative, or was he playing it safe? I think it was a combination of both. I think they were playing it safe, being conservative, and not wanting to risk much. They don't want to show much. They don't want to show their hand. Well, Memphis doesn't have Henderson anymore. Does Austin. Alex Burr, it was the grass fault. We struggled. Maybe it was. Man, they should have stuck with the turf. I don't know. Does Starkle give us a better chance than Hicks? Higher risk and high reward. I mean, I think Ryan Mallett kind of fit that same high risk, high reward kind of talent at Arkansas. That's exactly what Ryan Mallett was. I'm not comparing the two, but they're both gunslingers. They're both guys that were willing to just throw the ball, and they had the arm talent to do so, and they had the confidence to do so, and sometimes it paid off, sometimes it didn't. That's what you get with gunslingers. But I'm all about the excitement. And another great point that someone had brought up on social media, that Chad Morris is instead, he's trading out excitement and getting fans pumped up, by showing all of his playbook and letting everybody go. He's holding out. He's trying to hold that back to do that for the Ole Miss game. To me, that's kind of a cop-out, but maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. Cole Smith, what are your thoughts on defense? Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier a little bit. I was impressed with the defense. I still think they got a little ways to go. Linebackers, that the first quarter, first few drives, first 2 or 3 drives, that quarterback ran out of the pocket and there's no outside containment. And someone will probably argue that I'm kind of splitting hairs. Maybe I am, but I felt like he didn't have time. Thank God for that. I mean, they forced him out of the pocket. You want to see that. But instead, he would roll out and just run for first down right out of the pocket. Someone, either there's just no containment, or someone, I don't know what the deal was. I don't know whose assignment that was. And they blitzed a lot too. And when that happens, when you blitz, and if you got a good enough quarterback who can read the blitz, anticipate the blitz, roll out and make a play, there's nothing really you can do about it. And that's what's going to happen when you blitz as much as Chief likes to blitz. I mean, that's in his DNA. That's what he wants to do. He wants to blitz. He wants to get after the quarterback. Remember, I said, create chaos in the backfield and you win the game. That's exactly what they did. Unfortunately, their offense just, wouldn't hold up their end of the bargain. But that's what they did, and they did a great job. I don't know how many quarterback pressures they had statistically, but they were in the backfield a lot. I think they ended up with, 5 or 6 sacks. That's pretty impressive. Overall, I'd have to say the defense was the highlight of the game outside of Rakeem Boyd. So let's see. Azazian of Absurdity, how you doing, sir? Just going to have to understand that freshmen are going to make freshman mistakes, but these freshmen will be monster sophomores and juniors. Okay, that's true. But Grayson Gunter dropped passes. Chase Harrell, who was here a year ago, dropped passes. You had other drops from other receivers. You had some upperclassmen on the offensive line struggle a little bit. Austin Capps was called for a penalty, not a big deal, just one. There were some upperclassmen who also struggled, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to put everything on the freshmen. That's just not a good enough excuse. That's just the freshman's fault. That's kind of a cop out a little bit. I get it. You're not wrong, Azazian, at all, but there was a lot more there, and a lot of what we saw was, that was going on. And I go back to the preparedness factor. You look at the end of the first half, how mismanaged that was at the end of the first half. That's a coaching thing. And I caught a lot of heat last year when I said 2-10 isn't all on the guys on the field. The coaches share some of that blame too. I caught a lot of heat for saying that. I mean, my filtered comment section was ridiculous. The names I was being called. I triggered so many people with that, but it's the truth. And I think the same thing can be said for this game. Some of what happened, their lack of being prepared, the time clock, the mismanagement the first half, and just not being in sync. The coaches share some of that blame. I'm not saying it's all on them. Absolutely not. Freshmen made mistakes. Upperclassmen made some mistakes. Ben Hicks is not a freshman. Ben Hicks has been in this system. He's a 3-year starter, and he didn't look fluid at all. And that kind of goes back. You think back to the fall camp. We didn't hear a whole lot of positive things about the offense. We heard the freshman receivers were making plays, but we weren't hearing a lot about how the offense was gelling. Again, the media had limited access. Sucks we lost Dorian Gerald. He would definitely be missed this year. Yeah, Dorian was go back and watch that first quarter. Guys, he was blowing that tackle up. Whoever they put in front of him, he was blowing up. I mean, Dorian was looking good, and I really thought he'd be someone to keep an eye on. He's coming back. He announced on Twitter he will be back. All right, I'm gonna read a couple more comments. I'm sorry I don't have time to read them all. Got to skip ahead a little bit. Chris Montrell, who's in charge of play calling? Craddock is supposedly but I think the final word goes through Chad Morris. Also, if Chad doesn't get together by the end of his third year, I think Gus will hire Chad to call plays at Auburn. That depends if Gus is still at Auburn. I don't mind. Justin Potts says the "I'm not going to apologize" comment. Okay, if he came out all positive, people would compare to the Jarnell Smith smile. No, the Jarnell Smith smile was obviously something he was doing to the media. I mean, he was blatantly smile. I mean, he was taking shots at the media until no, I don't agree with that. We're not saying they had to come out positive. I'm not saying that at all. I think that there's just a way you handle things. And I think he's starting fires. He's starting more fires than he's putting out. And it goes back to how he's kind of handling the media. And remember too, guys, I know people want to point fingers at the media. The media is reporting to you. They want to provide you with as much information as they can. It's their jobs. I never understand. I get when the media crosses lines, maybe. I get where that's like, okay, what are you doing? Stop. But I mean, they're doing their job. Remember when they were asking about the quarterback situation? Chad Morris kind of started that fire, So Jeremiah, I think Morris needs to take over as play caller. Craddock caught a lot of heat this week, and maybe rightfully so. I'm not sure. Asa Valentine. Wow, there's a lot of comments. I'm way behind. I think the D could swarm, but couldn't. I think you would say couldn't contain. Okay, so we're gonna skip on to recruiting really quick. Yeah, 3 interceptions was nice, Mike. Mike Lane says 3 interceptions was nice. Hope they maintain that with better teams. Yeah, that was something that was missing too. Forcing turnovers was such a problem last year. They couldn't get to the quarterback. And see what happens when you cause chaos in the backfield. That doesn't always mean sack the quarterback. That just means hurry the quarterback, push him out of his comfort zone. Blowing the play up as it happens in the backfield. And that happened quite a bit to Arkansas last year. Well, not quite a bit. We saw it. We saw how devastating that could be. Throws the offense out of sync, forces the quarterback to get rid of the ball sooner than he wants to, and it forces turnovers. I think that's exactly what you saw. And I think if they can maintain that, I think now, you got a lot of returning veterans from a year ago. You got a lot of guys back from a year ago, and you've got a combination of some pretty good young talent back there. I think defense takes a step this year in the right direction. I'm not willing to say they're going to be great, but I think they take a step in the right direction. Offense, that's TBD, to be determined, if you will. So getting into recruiting really quick. I'm sorry, you guys fired off way too many comments. Well, no, it's a good thing. I promise. I'm going to try. Maybe I'll go back here in a minute. Darren Turner did commit August 30th. We haven't touched on that yet. This is a guy, according to 24/7, he's a national top 200 player, according to 24/7 Sports, out of Memphis. He's about 6'3", 6'2.5", 210 pounds, had some legit committable offers. He's a 4-star. I think he's a 4-star. I don't know what he is on Rivals or ESPN. I think he's pretty highly rated on ESPN. But he chose Arkansas. I think Alabama was his runner-up. Between Alabama, LSU, Auburn, he had a committable offer from Clemson. I don't know his exact 40 time because it's not listed. He's got a 4.18 shuttle. But, again, he's listed somewhere around 6'3". He decommitted. He was committed to LSU back in March. Or decommitted from LSU back in March. Yeah, he's picked up a lot of committable offers since really the beginning of the year. That's a big get for Arkansas. The question is whether or not he plays receiver. That's the question about Turner. There are some people who believe he ends up getting asked to play in the secondary or possibly put on some weight and maybe be a linebacker. I don't see that happening because they are stacked at linebacker. So Darren Turner, I don't know what they do with him. I don't know if they put him at wideout. He's just a talented player overall. I mean, he really is. I don't think there's any doubt that he's someone that everyone's really big on. And they also got Catrell Wallace on September 1st, speaking of linebackers, 6'5", 210-pounder out of Bryant. So those are, you gotta be okay with that weekend. Not bad. You get a dub. It may not have been the way you wanted it, but you got a W and you got a couple commits to start the weekend and to finish off the weekend. Not bad at all. And I think that's about all the news that there is to talk about. If you guys, let me get caught up on your comments really quick, then we're going to have to end it. We're at 34 minutes. Let's see. Let's see. Grant Patrick says Darren Turner and Cottrell Wallace were big-time gets over the weekend. Yeah, they were. Couldn't agree more. Any more news on Bryson Easton? I don't know. Bryson Easton, I mean, there are people around here saying he's on commit watch. I'm talking about people who do this for a living, who get paid to follow recruiting, saying that he was close to being on commit watch. Things have gone silent. That's not always bad. I don't know if he's got another official visit planned somewhere. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I do still, as far as I know, from what I'm being told, I think he still ends up being a Razorback. I think he ends up signing with the Hogs. Bryson Easton's going to be huge. And that will put them, if they get Bryson Easton, what is that, 5 linebackers. Remember, this comes from everyone that follows recruiting. The number of linebackers was maybe 3, possibly 4. Now they're looking at 5. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for that. Yes. Stack up the linebacker talent, please. Let's see. Matthew Hill. Why not take more shots downfield? Kept waiting on the passing game to open up. Hicks always hit checkdowns. Yeah, because I think, again, they're playing it safe. That's kind of Hicks's MO. That's what he's known for at SMU. He's known for being a pretty conservative passer. He does. If you go back and you can watch highlight films, yeah, he throws the ball downfield. He can push the ball down the field. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. Ben Hicks didn't want to turn the ball over. The offense didn't want to turn the ball over. They got off to a slow start. I think, and also not only that, you had the run game really pick things up. I think Rakeem Boyd ended up with like 115, 120 yards, something like that. DeVal Whaley and Rakeem Boyd scored. That was good to see. But I think that's just kind of Ben Hicks too, though. He's not known for taking a lot of shots downfield. Starkel's a different story. So I think it's a combination of coaching, game planning, going back to that base offense, and Ben Hicks just being who he is. Very conservative quarterback. 6 sacks, I believe, says Bill. I think you're right, Bill. I think it was 6. They had 6. I think it was 6 sacks and a lot of pressures. I mean, they were in the backfield. They were living in the backfield there in that first half. It was incredible. Let's see. Scrolling down here. Justin Potts says, if you watch Hicks at SMU highlights, underthrown deep ball is consistent. Let's see. But he had Cortland and Quinn making the – yeah, he had 2 really good receivers. Cortland Sutton should have been a first-rounder, and I think Cortland Sutton – by the way, I hope you have him on your fantasy team. Cortland Sutton may have a breakout year. Brandon Allen signed with the Broncos as a backup. How about that? It was Denver, right? Was that right? I think it was Denver. Do you think we throw more wide receiver screens this week? I don't know. This team last year, screens were just not a thing with this team a year ago. And I kept wondering that anytime Portland State, and this happened last year, anytime someone stacked the box, and we're showing blitz, and they were continuously getting pressure in the backfield, it's like, okay, go to a screen for the love of God. And eventually they would, but it would take a while. They're just not, I don't know if that's just not in their DNA. I'm not sure what the deal is. I hope they do. More screens to the running backs, and they could run some smoke screens to the receivers. They did that a little bit last year, but I want to see more of that. I want them to open this thing up next week is what I want to see them do, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Big man Ross, missed this. How could I? What's going on, everyone? You haven't missed it. We're still here. Makes me wonder, this is from QTZ, it makes me wonder if he overheard someone making a comment in the media room. Not apologizing comment was definitely out of the blue. Yeah. I don't know. That was strange. I remember reading that on Twitter and I thought, surely that's a mistake. Maybe Craddock. I could kind of see Craddock doing something like that. I'm reserving judgment until after the Ole Miss game. I'm really on the same boat. Really, what I should say instead of saying I'm sticking with 6-6, I'm at 0-0 right now, or 1-something right now, because everything hinges on this Ole Miss game. I'm taking them at face value when they say they held back, they ran a base offense, a lot of combination of a lot of things. And I want to give a shout out to JC on Twitter, who brought up a really good point. He said that he felt like the reason why we saw Hicks underperform like he did was the fact that he was sharing time with the ones. That's a really good point to make, actually. That makes you wonder a little bit of how much of Hicks not running more consistently with the ones during fall camp, how much of that was a factor in them being so out of sync. And so maybe from here on out, you just stick with your guy. That goes back to Chad starting these damn fires. name a starter, stick with him, and just go from there. How's it going, Ty? Sorry I missed. You're still here, Ross. You're good, man. Let's see. So weird to hear someone say Arkansas is stacked at linebacker. Laugh out loud. Definitely a good thing. They will be stacked. When it looks like you're going to take 5 linebackers in a class, my goodness. Finally addressing the linebacker numbers. Yeah, I have been for a while. And over on the Hog Talk podcast, I feel like we talk about it every week. Like, get these numbers right, sir. Chad Morris, get the numbers. Add the talent. Josh says Rams. Yeah. What about them? I do like them. Sean says, he was cut from the Rams. It's the Broncos. Oh, I see. You guys are going back to what I was saying. I'm sorry. Yeah, he was cut from the Rams, and he's with the Broncos. That's right. Brandon Allen, that is. Brenton Lowe says it may be a blessing in disguise that Dorian Gerald got hurt. We won't be so thin with inexperience on the D-line. Well, Gerald, I think, was going to have a big year. If you want my honest opinion, I think Gerald was due for a big year. I think anytime you lose a senior, a guy of his caliber off the D-line, and I say caliber based on his rankings, right? He was like the number 1, number 2 defensive end out of the JUCO ranks. He started coming on late last year, had a pretty consistent fall camp from what I was told, and then you watch that first quarter, he was unstoppable. I mean, he was blowing off that line of scrimmage, guys. I mean, it was incredible. I thought, wow, he's going to – and he disappeared, and then I couldn't help but wonder, like, what is going on, like a lot of people. And he never came back. Now we know why. Very strange injury, too, a strained artery in the neck. If we have any doctors or nurses in the audience, please fill us in on how big of a deal that is. I mean, we know it's an artery, right? Like, an artery is a big deal, but I've never heard of that injury in a football taking place in a football game. Nick didn't see the defender because he was behind the ref on that interception. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Someone actually had said that on Twitter that he couldn't see because the ref was right in the way, and I don't know if that's true. I haven't, because I cut the cord. I've only got actually I don't have any service right now. I had to go next door to my neighbors to watch the game. I will this week because I'm re-upping my Sling account this weekend, so I'll be able to watch the replay and everything. I didn't get a chance to go back and watch that, but I want to. I want to see what happened there because that was such a. You wondered and even the announcers were like, what was he doing? This is a bizarre throw. Let's see. Bill says, there was another defender in the way regardless. Have you heard anything about Kyrie Walker? I have not. Basketball recruiting question. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. No, I haven't heard anything yet. When we get basketball news, you'll know. I'll start pumping out some content on basketball. I'm really excited about the Musselman era. That's going to be fun. I don't know what he does. Hang on really quick. Switching to basketball. Musselman year 1. I'm going to make this guess. It's not a popular one right now. I don't think they make the NCAA tournament year 1. I don't. They're small. They don't have anybody who's eligible this year over 6'8". They're small. That's going to be a problem this year when you look at the rest of the SEC. Okay, off my box on that. I'm not saying Musselman's not going to work out. I don't like what he has to work with on the court. I really don't. Okay, back to football. Brad says another thing we never saw was any fast tempo, and that's been the thing since day one. Brad, thank you. Like, if I ding ding ding, they've never felt in sync. Maybe there was a little bit against Alabama where you felt like, oh my God, they're actually moving the ball in Alabama. And they couldn't stay consistent even since then. And then they got hurt. I get that. Ty Story and all these guys, your running back started getting hurt and you were really thin and you're working with a makeshift offensive line. I get it. But even against, FCS schools, you've never seen them actually be in sync. We could talk about moments, but from oh, yeah, in the first quarter, they were okay. They seem like they're in sync. But you've not seen a game yet where all 4 quarters they were in sync, gelling, moving the ball consistently. Never through 13 games. I'm with you guys that it's still early. I'm with you. I just want to see something and go outside of recruiting and go, wait a minute, maybe we're on to something with Chad Morris. I want to see it. Hopefully it's this weekend against Ole Miss. Jay Sanders says, Hog win by 10. We get a Traylon Burks touchdown and pick 6 from the secondary. Secondary's got promise. I'm really excited. Curl, by the way, rated on, I don't remember who it was. It was one of the big college football. It wasn't Pro Football Focus. This is one of the big college football accounts on Twitter. Put Curl and Sosa Agim as their all SEC squad on defense. I don't know what they saw with Sosa Agim. I mean, he made some plays around the line of scrimmage, but Curl was impressive. I meant finally addressing linebackers in recruiting. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, Bill. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Big man Ross, I hope the defense plays as good or a little better against Ole Miss. We need that win, but offense has to play better, without a doubt. Hey, we're actually getting caught up on comments. I may have skipped over some, but that's okay. 45 minutes. I got to hurry. My wife's going to kill me, guys. I got to start dinner. My kids are going to get mad at me for taking too long here. The ref literally had to duck out of the way. See, I didn't see that, Mike. I didn't see that, but then again, so we had a shout out to my neighbor. I don't know if he's watching this or not. Alex, my neighbor. We had this whole big barbecue, and oh my God, the barbecue is so good, y'all. He'd been smoking meat that night before and all day last Saturday. But we had the screen, and there was a lot going on with the kids and the sunlight. So we're watching this game outside in the backyard. It was kind of difficult to keep up with everything and see everything. You know, you're trying to talk to the people around you, deal with the kiddos and everything. But hopefully next week I'm just sitting here watching the game and able to analyze a little bit better. But I didn't see that. But I did. I go back to that throw and I think, what the hell? Who's he throwing to? Something had to be off there. Maybe the ball slipped out of his hand. Bill says the tempo has bothered me as well, as slow as Brett's teams. Yeah. Wayne says it looked like I was running the offense, and I'm 69. No up tempo. Yeah, and this is Chad Moore. Remember, left lane hammer down. They're still stuck in the right lane with their blinker on. Like, they haven't gotten in the left lane, and they certainly haven't hammered it down yet. I know. You got to be patient, and I agree with that. I'm not saying that anyone who's saying otherwise is wrong. We've just not seen it yet. Through 13 games, we've not really seen them from opening quarter to the end of the game, a full game where it's left lane hammer down, up and down the field, 600 yards of offense, a lot of scoring, you expect turnovers in those kind of games, but minimal mistakes. We've not really seen that against quality opponents. And then you had this game against an FCS school. I don't know. It just wasn't there. Let's see. The one thing that is overlooked is how noticeable the talent at wide receiver is much better. I couldn't agree more. Treylon Burks actually leads this team in receiving. I thought Woods actually got the advantage, but Burks, maybe it's receptions. Burks had 3 for 53. Remember, something else to keep in mind. They didn't have Cheyenne O'Grady this weekend. That's going to obviously help. A lot of your drops were from your second and third tight end. Again, they had, according to Pro Football Focus, I think it was 6 drops. 6. And half of those were from the tight ends. I don't know how many. Stop throwing the ball to Chase Harrell, for the love of God. Can you just stop? Don't throw it to him. Even if he's wide open doing jumping jacks for the ball, don't throw him the ball. Just tuck it and run. If he's the only guy open, he will drop it every time. Don't throw him the ball. But the tight ends were a big I thought, as far as in the receiving game, they just were not any help. Someone had pointed out earlier how Ben Hicks is conservative and he was throwing to the check down targets. I couldn't agree more. And you got to have someone reliable to do that. And tight ends were not reliable. Gunter had a play where he looked okay. But yeah, no, I don't know what was going on there. I'm making dinner as I watch. Says big man Ross. How impressive was Burks? That young man is going to be a baller. My goodness. And that should tell you something too. When you've got a 6'3.5", 230-pound wide receiver as your punt returner, that tells you that this staff is seeing something. I know we've been questioning their judgment a lot here lately, but and this was what has been said about him. We had Barry Grooms on from Hootens Magazine on the Hog Talk podcast, and he talked about Treylon Burks and how he's one of the best players he's ever seen come out of the state of Arkansas. And Grooms has been doing this for like 20-plus years, working for Hootens Magazine, covering high school football. And you're seeing that athleticism. And I still don't think he's 100%. I think he just took his knee brace off, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, Burks is going to be something special. The UCA Conway coach should get some looks. Mike Lane, no left lane yet. Last year we were on the shoulder, so maybe this year we ease into traffic. Maybe they're coming off the on-ramp and they're slowly getting to the main right lane, and then eventually they'll get over into the left lane and hammer it down. Mike, Bill says, Mike, yep, at least we can line up properly now. Yeah, that was something that we didn't really see a lot of last year at times, especially early on. All right, we're gonna shut this thing off. I'll read a couple more comments, and I gotta go get dinner ready. Figured would bust out some touchdowns in under 5 minutes. They have a quarterback that's been in Chad's type of system and never saw the quick play calling. Looked for it better. Every first down. Okay. Sorry, Brad. That was let's see. Chance says the quarterbacks were not impressive at all. I couldn't agree more. Ben Hicks just did not impress me at all. Starkel needs I don't know. I kind of thought Starkel after that performance, I kind of thought Chad Morris would say in his post game or even Monday or when he talked to the media, I was hoping to hear him say more about Starkel as just being the guy. That's what I was hoping based on that performance, but it's not. Why in the world would Reed Bauer be starting at punter? Sam Loy is so much better. Couldn't agree more. Loy was good, wasn't he? I guess Fishman's out. I don't know. Thumbs up. Peace. See you around, Fish. Motto, who's the next Memphis recruit to call those Hogs? Well, I certainly hope it's Bryson Eason. I feel like it's going to be Easton. I like the way you asked that, Moto. Very, very clever. Derek says, I think Chase is being misused. He should get more carries. Let's see. Have a good night, Ty, and everyone else. Love the videos. See you all next time. Yep. All right. Fishman, Big Man Ross, Bill, all the regulars that I've seen come around through these live videos. Thank you guys so much. To you guys that are new. I don't really put a timestamp on these videos, on these live videos. I was doing Fridays, during the fall camp, trying to get a live video out. Now what I think I'm going to do is try to do at least one, maybe two live videos a week. Then I'll have a recorded video out sometime in the middle of the week. And who knows, I might switch that around. Just stay tuned. I didn't even announce this on social media, and you guys showed out. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to watch. Remember to like, comment, share the content, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And I'm surprised my wife isn't calling me yet to wring my neck. Why haven't you started dinner? Stop talking to people on YouTube, sweetie. But thank you guys again. It really does mean a lot to me, and the support. Again, go check out the Hog Talk podcast. Myself, Jacob Scott Davis. We have shows. We're twice a week now, Mondays. This week we didn't get a new video out. I had to miss this last week because I didn't have internet. Why I didn't get a video out yesterday, and why I wasn't on the last podcast, I didn't have internet for like more than 24 hours. It took me till actually about 3 hours ago to get my internet back. Finally. But we try to get out podcasts twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. So look for those. Again, that's on iTunes. It's the Hog Talk podcast. Or just type in HAWG and you'll find us. Feel free to please, if you guys do, leave comments, give us a rating, 5 stars preferably. That'd be great. And we've had some awesome guests on. We actually had the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, on. They had John Neighbors on last night. Otis Kirk. We had Chandler Morris, 4-star commitment. Chad Morris's son. We had him on a show. It was really cool. So we've had some awesome guests on. The show's blowing up. We're all over social media. We're easy to find. So go check that stuff out. Again, thank you guys so much. Until the next video. Don't know why I did that. Woo pig. I'm cooking dinner. Leave me alone. I'm coming.